Okay. So, yeah, let's just begin by breathing together, but at your own pace. And I also want to at the same time, to just take a moment or two of silence to begin while we're breathing. And now opening to our hearts and to heart resonance. Whatever that may evoke in you. And opening to the greater potential of heart resonance within this group and circle. And lastly, just invite us to open to what we are seeking here in this association with good of the whole, with the heart resonance, people involved. And what this connection, this teaching is or has opened for us. And perhaps would like to open even further. And just taking another breath or two as we come back to and open our eyes or just return to our circle. Our circle of 5. Thank you. So I'm here because I just feel a desire to share more. Can you hear me right?
Sorry, it's really scratchy. Can people put themselves on mute if you're not talking?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
So I just feel called by this wondrous experience of heart resonance. And I believe its importance in the transformation, in the shift that's happening. And for me, kind of the desire to be able to better understand I use the word articulate, to be able to communicate and share each in our own way to deepen into that, so that it can be brought forth. So I use kind of the word of to get clearer, but also to make it more transparent, which I've heard used in expressing kind of from us individually. But I'd just like to really open, or at least my intention is to help open the doorway so that we each become more masterful, in the way we're drawn, masterful in being able to share this. And I know also that we each have unique places where we touch in on this work, and we might describe it in different ways or highlight different parts, which I think is beautiful and good. So anyway, so that's my initial invitation, and I have some ideas on what might help to do that. But if you could, I don't know if it's the best point now, but kind of to share individually, maybe, keeping it within a couple minutes if possible, kind of what you would like to see or what kind of draws you in the same way to wanting to perhaps share it more and be better at being able to do that, or whatever kind of comes up for you. So I put the talking stick into the center.
Good morning, everybody. Oh dear, hang on, let me turn that off. Oops. What comes to me when we talk about new ways of expressing resonance or creating it in different circles is the use of more than just our voice, and that is by using sound, by it could be instruments, it could be like the sound tubes that I have, or any kind of sound that helps to take one into that deeper state. And there are many, many ways to do that, whether it be music or sound from instruments, or just a movement of the body. And so I've just been thinking of different ways that might help as a group, or to bring into the larger group ways in which we can deepen the resonance by those means. So I have other ideas too, but I'll leave it there right now. Thanks.
Nahid, Oriana, do you want to hop in? I'm actually like kind of, but I'll be happy to.
Nahid, but I actually hadn't been able to be on the Good of the Whole calls, but I did watch the replays, and I have to admit I'm still very confused on what group is doing what thing and what the intention of this group that's unique, different from what, and I'm not even sure what they're called. I know there's one call that happens after the Monday morning call, and then there's one that happens on Wednesdays. And I'm not sure the difference of those focal points or this one. So I just am confessing my confusion. Tried to sort it out. I think I got more confused is what happened. So
Okay, I'll try to
do a little quick synopsis of what calls what and
Okay.
what do we do. That would be great.
So first important is once a month, this Resonance Council and everybody are coming together once a month on the first Monday after the Resonance call.
Okay, and what do you call that group?
The Monday call is just called Global Heart Resonance. It's a public call.
Right.
So
And
when I send out emails about that, I always put GHR, and this is probably a really good way for people to really think about this. I'm always putting GHR. That has to do with the weekly Monday call, which is the public call, right? And the Global Heart Resonance Council meeting, so that would be GHR Council. That's how you would see it in your email. That meets once a month right after the resonance call for an hour and a half.
okay, that's the Global Council then.
Right. So that's all of us. Okay. That's where this whole thing began and is building from. The Wednesday call has to do with mentoring stewards, people who are into strategizing, being involved in events with good of the whole. Love Lives Here wants to bring yourself into more of a mentoring steward role. So let's just say eventually the idea would be, oh wow, Love Lives Here or something we're doing. I would like to do this. I have this course I would like to do, or I would like to do a movement class or live movement. So it's a mentoring. The mentoring stewards are coming together, and just PS for everybody. We would like you all to be a mentoring steward if you're on the council, and that would include, if you can, a $15 a month donation to Good of the Whole, because that means you're supporting Good of the Whole. You want to be involved, and you would be, those people that are involved would be the ones that are more engaged in the creation of Good of the Whole and where we want to go. Okay, so that's the Wednesday call. That's more of an action-oriented call, Oriana, and has nothing to specifically to do with the resonance count. It has nothing to do with the resonance.
But it is weekly. The Wednesdays are weekly.
Yes. Yes. So yeah,
The mentoring stewards calls are
Wednesdays at
they're weekly, and then the once a month though it's open.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a letter with Julie and get it really clear. So the Wednesday, so if you just can think separately about a real action-oriented call for Good of the Whole, I want to know more about what are the inside, how's Good of the Whole working and what we want to do as a collective, like a fundraiser or Love Lives Here, or if you want to have your voice in that and be a part of that, that's where to do it. And we're building that every week, except for the first Monday of the month where we invite people to come and experience, what we're doing. But so
Okay, back to the Monday.
Okay.
The Council for Resonance. That's specifically for that Monday call guidance direction.
The Monday once a month is where we are engaging in focusing on what we as a council want to do for good. How do we want to bring the Global Heart Resonance forward? And that's actually how this call sort of came to be. Okay, so we're coming together once a month, like we talked about how do we get it clearer? Well, as an example, we want to, I don't want to take, this is Henry's call, so I want to be careful here, but basically, like let's make 3 videos, describing resonance so people can go to the website and watch those videos before they get on the public call, so that everybody comes in from a place of understanding. So that's
so let's return, if possible, and the letter would be good to the focus here, since we have an
right.
hour.
So then I was just going to jump. So Henry, from that call, wants to have a focal group that's focused on the articulation of heart resonance, and I'm complete. Back to you, Henry. And just call me personally if you're really confused.
Okay, well, no, that helped. I was just like, well, how come all of a sudden we have like 3 different calls for talking about essentially the same thing? Okay, that helped. I'll try to keep from being more confused.
So Nahid, are you ready to share? What caused you to this, to maybe articulate or kind of work on that, or anything related?
Interestingly, when we went to the silence and that centering, what question did you ask? The first question that you ask is, I don't remember what you asked. So it's like it was a big smile in my heart. It's like, why, I don't know, maybe why I'm coming. It's like, I'm looking at all the faces and I said, can I love you all the same? And it's like equally, not really, equally. And then I thought, no, I love you all very uniquely. And when you said, what are you seeking? The response was, I am not seeking anything. But that deep desire of sharing and connecting, that's what brings me here. It's like when I come to the field with those who know how to connect there, the best expression it would be like, is like, I get to love all my faces more. And then I do not sometimes, and they are challenging. And then that would be my, we call it project or something. That would be the things that I would take on to bring more loving into that. So it's interesting. I was reading something this morning as my daily reading of Hafiz. And it's like, it's so unique, but it's just the same. It's coming here is when I said just to love more all my faces, it's like contagious. It is contagious what we create. It's like there is a virus, I don't know. I mean, they call it the field. There is a virus in the field that when I get to be in the state of my wholeness and see myself outside of me, And it's like to kiss everybody, from that contagious place. Or maybe if people would know, would say, kiss me, kiss me, kiss me. It just, we come, to me, that I come to bathe together in that field. So I don't know any of what I said makes any sense or not, but yeah. Oh.
Are you complete, Naheed? So I'm going to jump in. So for me, coming to this group is very intentional. So I think when you were asking what you're thinking, for me, it was really, what's the group intention? What's your intent, or what's your intention? And for me, it's creating the form for others to come in easily, and to work in closer proximity with each other, creating actual documents, some videos that can be used, that are simple, that express exactly what Naheed just expressed, ultimately. So someone can feel the experience, so that through watching a 3-minute video, a few of them, I'm helping to explain resonance and why we're coming together and whatever those. So to me, I'm looking for what are, almost like the FAQs, like what are the questions, the biggest questions that people have when coming in. We know one of them is, what is resonance? Second one, what is the field? And the practice of it. So we've kind of already started that process, and I see this as being a focal group really to make that happen and to get across exactly what Naheed was sharing. And then June, I think it's really interesting that you're on that track of other ways to express the resonance. So I just wanted to share that when I went to Taos, New Mexico, it was exactly what I was called to do by the whales, to go and give people, I used to call it dive into liquid yoga. It was just a name, but it was actually teaching people how to track. I mean, it's what I've done for 12 years, and using music, how to track in their bodies. And Henry was there; he knows the resonant field. I don't know if you were there. I think you were there for when I was doing it, but I hadn't done it in a really, really long time with the acquired knowledge that I have now and the experience I have with each one of you. So I do feel that in a retreat style, that's an amazing way to, because I know it's coming up. Julie and I have talked about doing a retreat in October. So I do see, I love that as well, that I do see, like for me, music and movement and tracking the energy is everything that I'm about. So, and I know Oriana also has that piece with her. So yeah, I'm complete.
This retreat in October, is that for us coming together, or is just for the public?
It's just being discussed. We've had it's about more of the bigger piece of good of the whole. So talk to me, call me personally, because this is Henry's time. It's for everybody, yes.
Okay.
So I'll just kind of offer up where I am right now. I'm kind of feeling my way into, well, why am I here and what do I have to offer? But not only being part of the resonant call on Mondays, I also have a group that I formed with Barbara Marx Hubbard's course that's called Heart's Deepest Desire. And I also have another group with Terry Patton's course, and they do, in each of those groups, does resonance a little bit differently. Terry Patton calls it the we space and has some particular protocols that we're exploring to really establish this communication. So my curiosity is, how does each of these approaches, how do they work? Do they draw particular people that are perhaps more, the resonance call draws people who are just more in their bodies and really feel the sense of it more like what we do? And Terry Patton is more intellectual. Maybe they draw more for more that, looking for that understanding. Is more of a, from what I gather, more of a psychological entry point. And the heart's deepest desire is actually fairly unstructured, and we're actually doing our own level of exploring. I have a particular group who I drew together just for that purpose, that we were going to explore deeper how to find this heart's deeper desire, and first just establishing, well, what does it feel when you are following your heart's desire? How do you know? What does that feel like? It's amazing how people actually don't know. Never occurred to them to actually go back and explore when they have been following their heart's desire. What does it feel like? What has that been for them? And so I'm not real certain where all of this is going. I know Terry Patton we're in a year-long group, and it's not only an exploration but an experimentation in his group, whereby they're really looking at how do we come together as community and really establish this new society. So he calls it the New Republic of the Heart. And how do we interact with each other in this enlightened, more evolved state? What are the rules that we can establish? I'm also in a course with humanities team, Steve Farrell, in conscious leadership, and just establishing a group with them as well. They approach it a little bit differently as well. So I'm curious. My curiosity is such that, how do all of these different approaches, what do they have in common? What do they have in their uniqueness? How does each draw together? What's working? What isn't? And so I'm wanting to almost crossbreed, take the best of each and say, oh, here, look, we can do this. And one of the things I wanted to offer is, I can forward this to you, Shelley, is just Terry Patton sends out with his statement a brief summary at the end. If you come online, please be aware that when have your video on, that any movement can be very distracting. So please don't, don't move your camera around kind of thing. It's just a real brief little, just the basics of, don't reach up in front of your camera. Somebody's always doing that in the group, and it's such that just that much small movement to them can make a really big distraction when you're looking on the screen. So just little things like that. So I'm curious of how we can take the best of both and facilitate all of these groups, because I think at the heart of it all, we all have the same conscious draw of evolution itself, wanting to evolve us to a higher form of communicating and interrelating and collaborating and cooperating. So that's where I am, and don't know much more than that. I'm complete.
Thank you. Yes. Actually, I have Terry's book here. So just to add a little, what came to mind also, I appreciate your additional suggestions, June, of movement and sound, of course, because both of those are close to me. But also an additional one that I put in is also coming together in heart resonance in silence. Mm. And to perhaps explore that, or that at least be some avenue. And maybe it could be preceded by something like what Nahid expresses of Hafiz, or something, just some suggestions to give parameters too, so that we deepen into this heart resonance experience that especially you were speaking about, Nahid. So yes, it feels like let me see. And also the part about tracking, so these different pieces that was mentioned, ways that we can get deeper into it. And something that I expressed in other circles, maybe it was Wednesday, that kind of the importance that another We Space group that I kind of saw a video of was the importance of both the experience that we're having, but also the understanding. Otherwise, the experience can be more ephemeral, that we can lose it or not fully understand what we're doing. So the understanding kind of goes hand in hand, or partnership, where we can bring in the cognitive and kind of understand what's happening, so we can share it. And that's my desire, is that prompted me, is I don't necessarily yet feel solid in being able to run my own circle, and I think part of that is illusion, because I feel like I have a lot of skills to be able to do that. So anyway, I feel I'm hearing different possibilities, or also interconnecting it with what other people are doing. There is a lot of wisdom that is coming out of it. Just one other piece that I may have shared before in another space is moving, that another group did, is moving from the me space to the we space. So just understanding when I'm in my me space, and then opening to moving to the we space, or when I'm in my own dance and then I'm aware of the other people that I'm connecting with in the dance of the larger we space, and connecting in that way. So that's just another example of things. And for me, just another realization that I had is that I feel like through this connection with heart resonance, I am deepening into my own individuality. More so, it's this, so I'm not, a part of it, not necessarily a fear, was when we speak about the we space, the collective space, was losing my individuality. But I feel like I'm deepening into my individuality in a higher way, if that makes sense to your experience. So anyway, I have some different ideas of where to go. I would like to kind of maybe explore some of the things that were just expressed here, perhaps within our, or to find a way to do that. But I also, I don't know if it's the right time to bring it in, but I was thinking of kind of deepening our understanding. I just realized that each of us here has a very unique expressions. And for example, when June was on one of the resonance calls speaking about a family gathering, where it seemed like there was a heart resonant space that was formed, and everyone, her children and grandchildren, felt free to just express themselves authentically what was going on for them. So I was really kind of, so I saw that kind of as an application of heart resonance. So also, when Nahid speaks of herself as a heart, an educator of the heart, so I'm drawn to understand a little bit more about that. And I guess what I'm somewhat getting to is one of the ideas is I would like to potentially to interview, or in the interview format, each of you to kind of bring in from the understanding of heart resonance what that means, and and also that Oriana of expressing through feeling the field. I'd like to interview you potentially, or that was an idea that came to mind, to understand, just to kind of bring in your own unique expression of what this resonance, what the heart resonance means, so that we kind of add or go deeper into both our individual understandings, as well as going deeper into understanding our uniqueness that Nahid mentioned earlier. And I got a word actually when you were sharing, Nahid, where you're saying equally of the faces, that what came to mind was uniquely. You're expressing our uniquenesses. So anyway, and also, Shelley, you have a wealth of experience. I would like to kind of, get into the kind of interview you. And just, it's through those inquiries that often newnesses are born, or the reflection that embraces what each of us brings to the calls, but may not have a chance to get fully expressed. So that's one idea. And a last one. For this first, I realize I'm talking more, but I've just done a lot of reflecting on this. And as I reflected on the field, what is the field? Which, I'm still not fully clear what we mean by that, or the field speaking through us, or Terry Patton, they actually expressed something about it, when awareness itself is speaking through us. So that might be my first suggestion for a little home play. It is to just write down, whether it's a paragraph or two, to write down something related to the field, because I see the oasis that Shelley has used to express as being the field, another name for the field, or whether the field is God, the all that is, just to find. But anyway, I've spoken enough. Does anybody else, just open it to people to share?
There's something. So thank you, Henry. This is really beautiful. And I also feel like it really needs to be kept really simple. Like we all have enough homework, kind of. What has really worked in the past, and I think, okay, so what has really worked in the past was sending out a survey with the questions you're asking, because then everything's compiled in one place. And that's how we so beautifully made a document about heart resonance before. And that gives people a chance to think about their answers and set the space for doing it. But it also keeps it compiled in one place. I like the idea of the videos. And again, then you have to have someone transcribe them, because we really want that information. And we're not going to be, I think what I'm feeling is, so I'm really loving where you're going. At the same time, in response to Oriana, I feel like coming here isn't necessarily about bringing everybody else's stuff here. It'll come up through conversation, but the uniqueness about what we've been doing for 7 years and building this field, and we'll talk more about that, is that it is focused on wholeness. And that is where you're not seeing anybody else, everybody has their different voices and doing amazing things, and it is an attractive field for very, and I love Terry Patton, and I've been thinking about wanting to talk to him and everything. But our specific, in being involved with good of the whole, it is about the experience of wholeness, because when someone experiences wholeness, there's no separation. And the resonance is that experience that results from this experience. It goes both ways. And so that's why, I'm going to be really, transparent here. I really have an issue about talking about we space here, because we don't need to, we're actually listening for the unique voice of the field itself through good of the whole, this experience, cultivating this ethos of wholeness. Because what we have seen over the years is when people actually click in, and it is in a retreat style, that all of a sudden people go, oh my God, I had no idea this is what when you're talking about the home frequency, it is a frequency, and everybody here knows that. But that's the difference. So like, if in coming here, we're listening for what is this expression, how does this want to express itself, and being really careful of, the trick is about the we space is, there are people that have written books about the we, calling it the we space, or Grace in her Global Heart Team calls it the we space. But we want to be like that's not the verbiage that has, we want to listen for what the language that's coming forth here, and being almost like reverent or humble for what this channel of energy is, and it's about wholeness. And that's maybe, everyone will look inside themselves. So I hope, I hope I'm coming across in a way that isn't about being exclusive. It's about summoning this experience, that in the experience I've had with lots of different teachers and spiritual guides, and no, it's like this, it's like tapping in, and there is different language for it, but just really listening in sincerity for the expression here. And I guess the main umbrella is always understanding that it is about wholeness, and it is about people feeling deeply valued and connected. So I'm complete.
When you were speaking, Henry, what was coming forward for me was, it kind of connect to what I shared earlier from what you asked, but it's like, how can we connect more deeply among ourselves? It's like, how can I love all these faces? It's like, and I got it. It's just, this is my job, and it's like, how can we strengthen this connection, this space, whatever we call it. I would say that there is partially I experienced that with those who we have been together for the last 7 years, you know, and I don't have to interview them because we have been in different situations and I have seen, you know, who we are and how each would show up in this space. So it's like I have a knowing, a deep knowing about them, and there's some connection, but it's like, oh, that's what is present for me. It's like, how can we strengthen this, what we already have? It's like, because in the beginning, in the transparency of the moment, I have to say, when you said, Henry, that you want to put it on YouTube, and it's like the energy that I felt, you know, I realized it's like I was not breathing, you know, I was not breathing. And then, you know, I had to come back together. It's like, that's what is present. Thank you.
I'm I'm really feeling into the different ways in which we can know each other better to strengthen this field. And it's just really interesting. One of the things that have come up for me several times since I've been sitting listening is putting my entire attention and heart space into the face as each of you are speaking, and searching and accepting and loving everything that you say and do, regardless of whether or not I agree or not agree, because that's not the point. The point is, how do I soak in and know you and love you and accept who you are? Because for me, that builds the field. That takes away the differences. Not that I necessarily have to agree. It's something different. It's a way of absorbing each and every piece of us in that field that then builds this stronger place. For the 30 years I worked with Angelus Arian, we were always in the field, and those of us who were, say, what we are right here, were the anchors to hold that field. No matter what else was going on, we were not we were the field. And it was amazing to see what would happen in a group if we could hold the field, because our ability to do that made all the difference as to whether or not the field itself could hold itself together. And so I'm really excited about us finding that space where we literally absorb each other and have it become that field. So anyway, there's so much that I would like to know about each one of you and the way in which you do it. So I don't think we have to answer a lot of questions or write a lot, but I think just having Henry talk to each of us in the group about some of those things would really would help me anyway, just in terms of going into knowing and feeling into who you are and how you've done it, to see how we can weave all of that together. So that's me for now. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Yes, I feel a deep resonance again with what Nahid expressed and what June just expressed of really wanting to go deeper into this, the word that comes to mind, into the reservoir of this field, to know, to understand it better, because we haven't really had so much opportunities to connect with others. I guess I'm speaking for myself, but I think for Um, I forgot something I was going to say. And also I found through this process that people that I might not feel in resonance with through our Monday calls initially, that by holding that space and getting to know and to realize that those others that are different than me are also part of me. And that helps me to embrace the greater wholeness. And also, I feel like I carry this heart resonance. I mean, I don't have so much in the way of social connections, but I carry that with friends, that I'm able to be present in a different way in conversation because of the conversation of the heart resonance field, and I also see it as not just a process, but as a practice. And almost, a practice that you could extend beyond the Monday circles to just every day and all kinds of connections. So anyway, yeah. So any other thoughts? I realize we have a little over 5 minutes left.
I just want to say I so much appreciate your passion and this deep desire for the creation of what is coming forward for you uniquely. And as you said, we all are being some faces of you in that co-creation. So I'm very present to and thankful for that. The expression is happening, that you're giving to the field what is yours. Yeah, that's what it is here.
And also last, for me, and I'm willing to do more of kind of work that may take time to help to coordinate or bring this together, or whatever wants to emerge, from the larger potential within the field, and just opening to the fuller potential of good of the whole. So anyway, but I also, just open it to, rather than it just being a talking and sharing space, at least for me, to some kind of action. And it could be very simple, just to contemplate the field, what the field means to you. I feel like wholeness is, the field is another expression of wholeness. And I was amazed at seeing all the different parts of the heart resonance, that all of the pieces are very connected to the field. I could connect them, kind of different expressions of the field itself. So anyway, so I'm kind of willing, if people are open to being interviewed, and maybe that isn't the right word to use here. I mean, I somewhat want to develop my skills, and I just appreciate people's abilities, but I think interviewing is about inquiry. It's about also something new coming in, or some reflection, when somebody can mirror back to you what is happening. And there is kind of an understanding that we're able to get to the deeper space. So that's something that I would be open to do for, with each of you, and maybe some people beyond. I'm kind of very interested in what John Brockett shared about, that he used to, in his psychotherapy, he used to begin with content and listening for the content with his client. And now he comes in and he first connects through resonance. he's first looking for resonance. So I'd be interested, something in interviewing or having a conversation with him. So anyway, so please let me know if you are open to that. And we'll spend an hour at the most to that. Also, if you have any other thought, but maybe to just contemplate the field and how much that includes for before the next time. And if you're interested, I also said, that you're welcome to come and check it out. So in 2 weeks from now, I'd like to schedule another one. I'm kind of very action oriented, but I'm willing to put in time to that myself. I know everybody else is doing a lot of things. So anyway, any other final thoughts?
I want to thank you, Henry. I think it's a beautiful space that you're creating, and it does seem like going in a deeper level for us to have the time together, as well as it's like it's a feedback system is what you're describing, and feedback loop. And in those videos, I don't know what you're thinking of doing with, we can talk about it, actually. We'll talk about it because, and just to be clear, those are not public published videos, right?
Correct. That would be just for ourselves.
Okay, good. So
Yeah,
no, it's
not-
really
not
clear.
even- not
Everybody
even-
understands that. Yeah, and that
They're definitely
I don't know how
not
you're going
published.
to do it, but to somehow transcribe some of the key points from those videos, because those are what will be going, would fill in this reservoir that you're talking about. So whether it's yourself or somebody else, that would be, I would feel like that would be an important part to consider in how that could be done without, whether that you want to do that or to try to find somebody else to do that as well. Okay, but thank you. Yeah, this has been a really beautiful space, and just getting clear about what is wanting to be birthed here.
Great. So you can let me know now if you're open to that, or just, email me.
Open.
Okay. Beautiful.
And I just have a question. Is the way that you're using resonance is sorry, lost my voice here. Is it defined? Do you have a definition that you call resonance? And the reason I belong to
Yeah.
Resonance Academy, which is in the semi-aramine in physics, and there's some specific terms in physics for resonance as well as in music, specific terms. And so you've borrowed a word, and what I'm asking is, are you defining it as wholeness? And that what you were saying, Shelley, is that's how you look at resonance?
For me, the specific, like coming together, and June and whoever else has been coming together for a long time. I mean, there is a document that we started with a definite, an understand. I'd say understanding rather than a definition. But I think that's actually one of the very first steps of this group, is to what is our definition? What is our definition? So if you would share what you have, and then I'll reshare the document that June and myself and Dinama and whoever else we did earlier, and really that really would be the number one thing to do. Almost before the field, is because we're talking about global heart resonance. What is resonance? So I think that's important. So thank you for bringing that up.
Great. So
I wanted to ask that you actually. Okay.
Go ahead.
I was just going to send the email out to everybody, because to let people feel into whether they can come in, just the Resonance Council, to see if people find their way in here, and also to let everybody know what's going on here, because like I took notes. Yeah, just so that we can, I know, Michelle wants to really work on the languaging, and, so it's a both and what I feel, however you want to hold it.
Just so everyone in the Resonance Council, you're saying to send the invitation to, and perhaps the a summary, maybe. Okay, sounds good. So let's just take maybe a few breaths together and just in silence to connect with the resonance, connect with places that you touched upon in this hearing that you want to embrace or open to. Maybe some new seeds. And thank you all for being here. So I'll plan it for in a couple of weeks, and I will send the reminders out. So not sure the exact date, but 2 weeks from today. Thank you.
Would you stay with me for a few moments, Henry, please?
Yes, definitely.
Thanks so much, Henry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Don't forget to shut off the recording.
Yes, thanks.
Bye all.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.